Hello. Uh, Good evening, everyone. We are live from the apocalypse, and this is Banned in Duel City. Thank you all for joining us. For those of you who it might be your first time watching us, we play tabletop role playing games to benefit nonprofits, aid organizations, and other charitable causes. If you're watching tonight and you are enjoying what you see, we ask that instead of subscribing or giving bits or anything else like that, that frankly pads Bezos's pockets. Uh, we'd rather you donate directly to the organization we're currently fundraising for. You can do that by typing exclamation point donate in the chat, and our bot will post a donation link. And if you do that, I'll explain how, but that actually can benefit our players in game as well. Explain that when we get into mechanics in a little bit. Um, Currently, we're fundraising for the First Nations Development Institute, a nonprofit organization that assists Native American tribes, their communities, and Native nonprofits in economic development by providing technical assistance, training, policy, and the awarding of grants. Um, Separate from that, we also have some channel points that you can unlock without subscribing that allow you to utilize various emotes that will pop up on the screen during the stream. Also, if you donate, that will pop up as well. And it will be the Macro brothers being very excited in the middle of whatever we're currently doing. So definitely save that for the most dramatic moment to really just amp up the chaos. Uh, Other than that, we're going to go around and do some introductions, and then we'll get started on this thing. Why don't we just go left to right? There's one of our emotes. Um, JD, you want to introduce us to you? Tell us what you. I guess trying to think of whether I should explain the setting before you all introduce characters. Um, we'll give the quick preview, which is that this is set in a dystopian future. Capitalist hellscape, even more than the one we're currently in. And our characters will be playing the Menaces, who are a group of rebels, punks, witches, etc., banding together to fight against the oppressive government forces in this city, the eponymous Dual City, of which they are banned from, so to speak. So yes, JD, go ahead and tell us about you and your character.
Sure. I would love nothing more than to do that. I never panic when I have to go first.
Wait,
It's fine.
I made some things wrong. Hold on.
Oh no.
No, I love this. What'd you do?
Both JD and Liz are on the same thing. One second,
Same
please.
person. It's
Sorry.
fine.
It'll take literally 2 seconds here.
That's the secret. They are
the same person.
They are the same person.
We are the same person.
Hey,
Well,
look at that. It's
that
fixed.
explains the pronouns.
It's true. All right. So, I am JD. You can often find me with Live from the Apocalypse. I am in Class Reunion and Academy H. I am, of course, in this game. I am also making an appearance, theoretically, in Vampire Records. You can also find me with Lion every Monday with Tales from the Table Studios for SCP, A Crumbling Foundation. And I hang around with the Lost Caravan every so often. So tonight I am playing Spencer. I'm not sure how much to share about him. I guess we'll go with the playbook. So he uses a combination of the heart and the brains. So he is very focused on understanding how to win battles, and he is also there as emotional support for the team. He is a goth punk. He is about 5'5", black hair that has recently been streaked electric blue, and an all-black ensemble as befits his aesthetic.
All right. Next up, looks like we've got Lion.
Hi, I'm Lion. I'm the creative head for Tales from the Table Studios. We do a bunch of different actual plays throughout the week. I'll have an announcement about something really exciting at the end of our show tonight because I want to make sure you stick around for this amazing show. You can find me at the Lion Knight 42 over on Twitter and here on Twitch at Tales from the Table Studios. Tonight I will be playing Gideon Gainsley, our ace. He's sort of the beacon of hope for the menaces, and generally leans a little closer to the classic punk bleeding out of metal genre, usually in some kind of a battle jacket, like denim and the like black fabric backing with all sorts of band and other relevant insignias sort of stitched onto it. And in true Yu-Gi-Oh anime fashion, he has very big, large, think almost Vegeta-esque white hair with a single shock of gold running up through it. And is always looking relatively tired.
Perfect. Next up, Matan, why don't you tell us about your character and yourself?
All right. I'm Matan. I'm also always tired. Nice to meet y'all. I'll be playing Timmy the Timid. There's a mechanic in the game that we haven't gone over, and I don't know if we want to spoil it, so I won't spoil it. But Timmy is a quote unquote strategist, in that he's very quiet and has thoughts. Whether they're good or not, we're going to find out. That really depends on me more than anything. I don't normally look like this. Normally, I look like a real human being, but for the flavor of playing an anime TTRPG, I figured I'll be anime for the stream. You can find me on Twitter at that handle that's on the screen, and I make music, a lot of it, all the time. Some of it is funny, some of it is good. I've done the background for some Live from the Apocalypse stuff, and hopefully I will do more. Thank you.
It's a shock to me. I thought that's always what you looked like.
I mean, you just met me, so as far as you're concerned, yes.
Well, there you go.
And Will.
Yeah, that's me. Hi, I'm Will, and I am sick, and that's why I sound worse than usual. But I am going to be playing Chase. I'm going to be playing the wild card of our group, and I have been very busy, and Chase is, yes, I am sick, but Chase is sick. And he is, so like I said, I've been a little bit busy. I missed a lot of the game stuff for this. So I don't exactly know how Liz is going to bring me in, but I think I am coming in as kind of, again, the wild card in every sense of the word. And Chase is a little bit of a skater bro. He's very laid back. He's very casual about everything. He tends not to get worked up or always kind of has a level head, but he and he also doesn't really know much about this game. I don't think. So this is going to be very interesting. And yeah, I think that's Chase and me. I'm a little out of it. I'm on a lot of cold medicine right now, so we're going to do our best to get through this. That's it for me. I'm on social media. You can find it.
Perfect. And yeah, I'm Liz, by the way. I don't think I ever actually said that, so that's me. I will be the take your term of choice, game master, guide, facilitator, whatever, the person trying to steer this wild ship. So outside of that, I'm not going to spend a lot of time in my intro on me because there is one thing I really wanted to feature for this game, and it is actually the system that we're using. So Biscuit Fun Games designed the system. It's called Tournament Arc is what we'll be using. It actually has a core system that's designed for sports anime, and then multiple expansions that help you tell very specific stories or help you better suit certain systems. We'll be using the Heart of the Cards expansion for replicating Yu-Gi-Oh! Dueling, and we'll also be using the Combo Breaker system. It is designed for martial arts fighting. We're going to use it for motorcycle combat, but it works just great for that as well. That system, if you like what you see, is available at biscuitfun.itch.io/tournament-arc, which I will also drop in the Twitch chat. If you like it, I would really recommend going there and picking up the system and supporting Biscuit Fund. They did an incredible job with this game. They're really great people, and just would really love any love they can get. I also would just like to give a slight shout out, as we will get to meet the menaces in this game. This group of protagonists is inspired by some real life friends who also go by the term the menaces, who have been just really great and supportive of me in the past year. And so this is kind of a nice note to them as well. But with that, we will jump into this. So obligatory context for the story we are part of. Most people who are familiar with some aspect of
just
Yu-Gi-Oh!
fucking grip it, baby.
Sorry, you got a
Slop that
donation.
down, dude.
Fantastic.
Shit, yeah, dude. Crack
Did,
one for the big boy.
I did get a donation. Thank you so much for your donation. This pile of gold foil that I got from a doll. Thank you, Julia.
So that's actually a good reminder. So as you donate through tonight, this system uses tokens. If you've seen anything I've run on the channel before, you have seen systems that use tokens. This is another one. So if you donate, our players will get additional tokens, which they can use to do things in game. So anytime you donate, all of them will add another token to their sheet, so everyone can start with one token. In the system, they gain tokens by doing things that are leaning into their character, but in a way that furthers the plot, usually by screwing something up or making a problem worse. And then those tokens they build up, they can then spend to steal the moment, do impressive things, overcome adversity. But like I was saying, the setting. So most people who are familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! Know there's usually some sort of corporate influence. Kyber Corp kind of makes all the technology in the Yu-Gi-Oh! World. This is set in the same idea conceptually, but far enough in the future that at some point, Kyber Corp actually managed to advance their hologram technology enough using hard light tech to make holograms that could actually impact and affect the world. The government immediately jumped on this and realized its weapon capabilities. With that in mind, it was distributed out to their security force and used as a new way to enforce law and order, so to speak, with cracking down on people who try to do anything about it. This was met with resistance that an initial wave of the resistance fought back using dueling in a similar way until the Kaiba Corp, which at that point had basically been acquired by the government, disabled dual discs and basically locked them to, they had to be government issued, locked to identity, basically prevented people from using this holographic technology to combat the government. At that point, things got really rough for a while because people didn't have a way to resist in a significant fashion. But in a more recent discovery, several people in what we would now call themselves the menaces started experimenting with witchcraft. And in that, they were able to form bonds with ancient spirits. The type of ancient spirits that in a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Media have allowed ancient pharaohs, for instance, to summon monsters to resolve disputes. And with these bonds with these spirits, often stored in receptacles, stored somewhere on these figures, these rebels began to summon their own monsters into the world. And with these summons, they could then go back to combating these government forces. And in fact, doing quite well, because it turns out while hard holograms are pretty effective, actual monsters and magic summoned into the world is a little bit more so. And things have really started to take a turn and escalate as now recently the government has been doing shady things to try and level the playing field again, having had things start to turn against them. And while people are not aware of quite what is going on with that, there's definitely rumors amongst what the government might be trying to do to reset that playing field. And that is where we kind of pick up with one particular coven. The menaces are usually broken up into smaller groups that are smaller covens that travel together as part of one greater whole. In this case, our coven is these 4 people who have known each other for varying lengths of time, um, but who are out, just kind of out and about on the city. Um, Most of the menaces ride motorcycles that are crafted from junk or scrapped in some way, shape, or form, which allows them to get around the city. Because again, in the spirit of controlling everything, the government has restricted a lot of available transportation. So you kind of have to make your own way if you want to be able to travel in ways that they are not mandating. Um, so you are all out together. You are well, why don't we say we're probably visiting a friend of Gideon's at Rise Coffee, which is a little small underground coffee shop frequented by a lot of the menaces, where Adon, a friend of Gideon's, and maybe something a little bit more potentially, uh, works as a barista. Um, Lion, do you have any ideas on what the coffee shop that Adon works at might look like? It's definitely not. It is a little bit underground. It caters mostly to menaces for business, but it is not a fully like hidden away thing. So, do you have any thoughts on what it might look like?
Sure. I imagine that it's kind of it really does sort of skirt that line between looking like your everyday just cafe, but there are up on the walls a number of different posters for like local like bands and musicians that are kind of the neon sign to those in the know that they are supportive of the menaces. I figure they have like the very typical sort of like bar top, and then a couple of small sort of rounded tables, maybe like 1 or 2 booths in the back. And it's probably not particularly busy. I like to think they have sort of like a dim lighting going on. Um, and it's just sort of people come and go, and you get all types really in there. Is kind of what jumps to me immediately.
Perfect. So my first question, because I just think it's a good little personality read. What is everyone's coffee order or drink that you can get at a coffee shop?
My drink would be an iced Americano.
I like that only because Americanos are high caffeine. So I love that.
I try to be efficient.
Yeah, Justin,
had
fucking
fun.
grip it and rip it, baby.
Incredible.
Slop that down, dude. Shit, yeah,
Oh,
dude.
thank you so much
Crack
for the
one
donation.
big boy.
Thank
That
you so
is-
much.
Oh,
We are now up to 2 tokens.
thank you so much.
I fucking can't.
All right, here's my follow-up question: does Timmy order their own drink, or does somebody order for Timmy pretty regularly in the group?
I'd say Gideon is usually the loudest and proudest of the group.
Yeah, I don't think Gideon would have any problems doing that. That's not an issue.
Perfect. What is Gideon's order?
The strongest, blackest, most caffeinated thing that they can give him. Ordered
Fair.
specifically exactly like that.
And Spencer?
I think the largest iced caramel macchiato that can be ordered.
Love it. And lastly, for Chase,
I think Chase just gets a green tea.
like that. So you all get your coffees. You maybe spend some time here. You're headed out after that to your plans were just kind of to cruise the city. Maybe cause some problems if you see any kind of agents out and about, but didn't have anything specific in mind for the evening.
Before we go any further,
Yes.
I'm so sorry, but I had a really dumb idea. that I
Those
wish
are
I
the
had
best
had
ideas.
to
Yes,
ask
please.
about before. So I know we all ride motorcycles.
Uh-huh.
Is there any way that instead I could ride a hoverboard with like a dual disc that comes out the side, so I have to crouch down to play cards?
So like it comes up to the side and you like have to lean down to set your card on it.
Yeah, like I'm picturing like a hoverboard, and then like the dual
Yeah.
disc part just like slides out of the side of it, and so like anytime I want to play a card, I have to like crouch down
All the
or
way
like
down.
yeah to play the card.
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely.
Denies all physics and logic, but I'm just wondering if I could do that.
Incredible.
I mean, I opened with
Love
hard light technology allowing violent holograms. I think you're
Hard
good
light.
on the bad science front.
I know we didn't even discuss vehicles, but if we're doing this, I'd like training wheels on mine. In whatever the motorcycle form of training wheels is.
So like the motorcycle tricycles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We could do that.
Oh,
Or
yeah, I
just
guess it
like
is
straight
that.
up side saddle on someone.
I was gonna
Well-
say sidecar. I think it's the
Right?
motorcycle version of training wheels, technically, but there are also
Sidecar
the,
would work if we didn't have individual combat.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
like the
literally
trike
that was my
idea,
first thought. I was like, Gideon, can I just ride sidecar?
though.
But no, I don't think it'll work for the combat part of it.
trike is good. Absolutely. Are you a back wheel trike or a front wheel trike? 'Cause there
Ooh.
technically are two different versions of that.
Yeah, there's
Ooh.
both.
I think a front wheel trike so that there's less chance of me flipping over the handlebars. I think it's
Got
a
it.
safety thing, you know.
I love this.
Fantastic.
I
While
jump-
we're at it, yeah,
Oh,
what
go
do the other rest of your motorcycles look like?
I was gonna say, Gideon's motorcycle is probably the ugliest, most like ramshaden looking thing because it's built exclusively from parts that he's gotten from other people in the community.
Mhm.
So they're not like visually, they're not matching at all. But for him, it's really meaningful because it is more of that sort of, he is the focal point that brings these people together. And so all of the pieces that make up his bike are essentially donated from the people around him.
Perfect. And what about Spencer's?
I think Spencer's bike is in contrast to Gideon's, like actually fairly well put together and sleek looking, even though it's equally as cobbled together as Gideon's would be. But Spencer was very methodical in the parts that he took on, the ways they went together, and so it looks like it actually might be like a legitimate bike that he just bought, but it is it's cobbled together because you've seen him work painstakingly on putting all of the pieces together and getting everything to line up.
Perfect. And is there anything you all are doing or want to do at Rise Coffee before you head out on the town?
Yeah, Gideon, is there anything that you want to do? Spencer does not say that. I ask you this.
Gideon is content to drink his coffee and watch from afar.
That's a little creepy, don't you think? Why don't you say hi to her?
It is. Can you describe it on
Oh,
course?
yeah, you actually never gave a description. I have no idea.
Yeah, no worries. Adon is he's about the same age as Gideon. He's a relatively tall, very sort of slender guy. He usually wears some kind of band tee. Has a like very short cropped hair in like huge contrast to Gideon. And he wears a lot of like bangles and bracelets and stuff, which just kind of always is making some kind of noise in the otherwise very chill, sort of quiet coffee shop.
Just gonna say short hair. That's how you know he's an NPC. In the Yu-Gi-Oh world, you have short hair. What are you doing?
Everybody
Yeah,
else is
yeah,
like,
be
I've got a
part of the
lightning
story.
streak in my hair. My hair is green. Short hair.
Short hair, yeah.
Dangles a lot. Why don't you guys go say hi to him? You can't just sit here forever.
No, but I can sit here for quite a while. I've done it before, and I can do it again.
I understand.
I mean, how long is a while?
I think my record is 4 hours. 3
That's
cups of
healthy.
coffee, 4 hours. I can make that work. The timing's not right.
Anybody want to play a quick match?
I think, are y'all doing anything else there, or are you heading out?
Nah.
Will, you're
Will,
muted,
your
I
mic
think?
is off.
Yeah.
Sorry, earlier when you said, does anybody want to do a practice match? I said, I mean, I could use the practice. Because,
That makes sense why nobody responded.
Yep, it does.
Then yeah, y'all, while you're sitting there enjoying your coffee, you two, I imagine, maybe run a few rounds.
Yeah, and over the course of that, I think it's just clearly evident how little Chase really knows, because he's just like, so like trap cards you can play whenever, but like spell cards you can only play on your turn.
I love that you're having fun with this.
I
mean,
feel like
it seems chill.
I feel like Gideon would probably welcome the distraction of just kind of watching these games, and occasionally, as these questions come up, kind of like point things out to Chase as he can, to both of them, maybe even.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, actually. So Timmy, being the strategist, very much can understand the game, but often, because of various reasons, may fail when put the spotlight on.
Yep.
My question was, in this situation, is Timmy comfortable? Are you playing quite well? Or is even this enough to like kind of cause that tension and anxiety?
I think well, let's ask this. Who's in the coffee shop other than the crew that I know?
I think there's a good mix of people, but not any of them are really, no one's gathered to watch the game. They kind of have their own things going on, so it is much more casual. This establishment, despite like it's kind of threading the line between mainstream and like menace focused, is still the type of place where people mostly keep to themselves and their like groupings.
Then I'm probably kicking ass right now. I think that makes sense.
Love it.
Chase is just like, you are so good at this game.
I love Link summoning so much. First turn kills, they really make me feel good.
No, I totally get you. Totally feel that. Yeah, you're killing it.
Thanks, Chase. I really appreciate that, my friend.
That also is a perfect side note. For those of you in the audience who are very familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, enjoy those nice accuracy verbal references now, because we're going real first season early Yu-Gi-Oh once it gets into actual gameplay. So just like save yourself the keyboard time. I know it. Catapult Turtle doesn't actually launch the thing into the ring to crash. It's going to happen. Just allowing you to prepare for that now.
Oh, it definitely does.
But yeah, y'all are able to go a few rounds. Enough time for everyone to finish their coffees, and you're able to head out to your series of 2 standard motorcycles, a trike, and hoverboard.
We love to see it.
We do love to see it.
And are y'all heading out to cruise the city?
Yeah, cruise is the word you could use. Maybe for Chase.
Oh, Chase is always cruising.
Chase is always cruising.
Always.
I imagine Chase has like never been seen off the hoverboard, just always is on it.
It's like Heelys.
It definitely like you know, in how they take the dual discs out of the motorcycles and like strap them onto the arms. He's fully straps the hoverboard to his arm.
Fantastic.
I love it.
That's how the dual disc works.
Living the dream.
I also love that I know how far at least you've gotten into Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds because they don't do that for a good minute.
Yeah, farther than I expected to. I'll say that much.
It's because the show is good and you enjoyed
So
it.
good.
It is surprisingly good. The dub is
Yeah.
awful.
Oh,
Truly,
yeah.
truly
I mean,
painful.
Was it still for kids for the dub? Probably, right?
Yes.
Most likely.
Yeah, that's terrible. Terrible dubs. Anyways.
But the sub is shockingly good. Anyway.
Yes.
So yeah, you're all out, riding around. It's relatively late at night. The lights have come up in the city, in the parts of the city that are better lit than others. But after a little bit, as people have kind of gotten off the street and you're just kind of cruising around to see what you see, something starts to come out of the kind of corner of your eye. Like you all feel like you're picking up a little bit of movement. I'm curious if any of you have moves that might. Who do you think might notice this first? Something seems to be moving with you or approaching.
I think Spencer might notice this first.
Okay. So what you see is you see like flashes. It's almost like the light is catching off metal, kind of in like the. It's not on your main road, but it seems like things are kind of moving to the side in alleys next to you and like across the way. And then all of a sudden, they kind of come out of the shadows. And what you all see is almost like robotic. It is kind of like tech-based. And it is like these small, probably about the size of like a large dog, little like robotic things that are running. They have like gold legs, kind of a curvy body with like almost like a tail that goes up with like a gold piece on it, and then like a gold kind of pointed like mask like face with like a little lens on the front. And there's several of these things, about 4 of them, seeming to like start to almost like move in around you all, kind of like a pack of wolves almost in kind of their behavior. And I'm sure whoever's heard it has shared it with the others. So through some way or another, you all have heard that like there have started to be strange things seeming to target members of the Menaces, independent of like government agents or like security forces. And like you'd heard of people going missing, but no one had like really gotten a hard description or exactly what it was. But based on behavior and context, it seems pretty clear that this might have been what people were talking about. And with that, we are going to do a little bit of showing off how the motorcycle stuff works. So,
Will, if you could please explain to us how all the motorcycle stuff works.
Bike has an engine in it that is presumably gas powered, and the internal
No, it's hard light
combustion-
technology.
Okay, well, I don't know.
I imagine the hoverboard is probably electric.
Yeah, the hoverboard is very different, but I was trying to explain the motorcycle stuff.
So for the mechanics for this, again, we are using from the Combo Breaker expansion for Tournament Arc, which adds a positioning-based rules, which I thought translated really nicely to motorcycles. So for each of our characters, you all have at the bottom of your sheet charts that say position, your specialty, and your techniques. You will see 2 boxes on the position chart, one that's green, one that's red. That is where you are all going to start relative to you and one of these hound-like creatures. At the bottom are the options you can do. So everyone can, on their turn, strike. So spend a token to the term from the game is gain a point, but in this case, it is in basically inflicting enough damage to stop the thing that is also there. So in this case, getting these things to either give up or breaking them. You are trying to get to, on these, it's just going to be a 3 point. Normally it'd be a 5 point and a more elaborate thing, but these things are smaller. It's just trying to get to 3 points. So you can spend a token to gain a point and shift your position up to 1 space on the position chart up top. You can evade, so shift yourself up to 2 position spots. Trip, shift your opponent up to 2 position placements, or brace, gain 1 token. And you all have a focus that is checked currently that you can spend at any point in this conflict to use an additional technique or to stop your opponent from landing a strike on you. You also all have a position specialty. So that position specialty tells you essentially where you want to be in relation to what you're trying to strike or battle with. And that is shown in your specialty track. So that is how many spaces from you and how that impacts your token spend. So it'll either, basically, if they're in the ideal position for you, you're probably not going to have to spend any tokens at all. If they're out of sync with the ideal position for you, you're probably having to spend extra tokens. So this is a game of both adjusting your position and also inflicting harm. We've got you all started. We'll handle this kind of one each as we go through each of your turns, and then we'll do all 4 of the hounds and go from there. And if it's cool, I'll probably just go left to right again. So, Spencer, are you... and this is a fair question because not everyone may have jumped right into this. We do have some people who are more timid than others in all this and in different situations. Are you each splitting off to take on one of these? Is someone taking point and trying to draw more away? How are you all engaging this before we jump to each of your turns?
I mean, given the opportunity, Gideon is going to go head first into this and try and pull as much attention as possible.
Okay.
Spencer noticed this first. How would you communicate this to us?
That's true.
I think Spencer more just alerted Gideon initially because they were side by side, both being in the more forward position. So I think just kind of instinctively Spencer caught sight of this and like called Gideon's name and then like nodded in the direction he was seeing these hounds come from.
Okay.
And yeah, the Gideon's response is definitely to like look over, see them, look back over at Spencer, and he'd be like, let the others know, and then he'd sort of like try and cut across to get between the rest of them and these dog-like things to try and sort of pull them away from the main group.
Okay. With that in mind, then maybe we will change up the order a little bit and go based off of aggressive action. So Gideon, unless anyone else is taking the point action, I will probably let you act first, and then based on the others receiving the news and how they act, we'll go from there.
Chase is definitely going to do offensive action. He is not good at duel monsters, but he is good at this, and I think he's, being the newest person in the gang, eager to prove himself. So I think after it gets pointed off, he would sort of say like, "Don't worry, I got this." And one of my complicating moves is get way too cocky. So this seems only fair.
I love that.
Don't get yourself hurt.
So I think the best way to represent that is you should take the token for it. And I think what we'll do is we'll do Gideon's first, and then I think we'll do the dog thing that Chase engages with gets its turn first, as you put yourself in the line of fire by being a little too arrogant. And then we'll do your turn right after that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. We had 2 tokens.
Yes.
We had 2 tokens, so I'm up to 3. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're up to 3.
Quick start with 2. That's nice.
Because
Yeah,
for
we
donating.
get one from the donation. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks to our kind viewers. I wasn't going to give y'all any. They did all that.
Thanks, y'all.
Fantastic.
So with that in mind, Gideon, you've gone after these things. Are you leading with a strike? Are you adjusting your positioning? How are you approaching this?
So the first thing I think I'm going to do, because ideally I want to get them to the first position, right? Would be to use the trip technique to shift them closer towards the target position that I need them in. If I'm understanding that right.
So, because we are not using, at least initially, the full rules for Combo Breaker, the target zone isn't as relevant. It's mostly the token modifiers for y'all.
Right.
So in your case, 1 to 2 spaces away gives you both the -1 token benefit, which means your strike is free. So getting them right next to you is great because it makes them exert more effort to get away. But also getting them within 2 spaces would still allow you to get that bonus reduced token spent.
Okay. I think I want to make sure that they can't get away.
Mhm.
I think that's definitely a priority for Gideon. If nothing else, being able to take a couple of these down to be able to take back with us
Mhm.
is probably something that's on his mind. So I do still think that would probably be the action.
So you're going
Um,
to trip
yeah, yeah,
and shift them 2 spaces closer to you?
yeah.
Okay. So I am going to change the fill to represent that on your
Nice.
sheet. So yes, you're able to shift them up to 2 positions.
Yeah, and I imagine Gideon, like I said, as he kind of like cuts off away from the like main body of the group, he positions himself between the rest of the menaces and the dogs, and tries to sort of almost cut through the middle of the group of them to throw them off filter enough that they can't keep the distance they would like to keep,
Mhm.
and just sort of end up with him almost like centered
Got
with
it.
them sort of surrounding him.
Perfect. And yeah, you definitely, I mean, you're doing a trip, so you definitely break up their movement a little bit. And uh, sorry, lost my train of thought for a second. You do also have that focus. You can spin that and immediately act again, but you will leave yourself exposed because that would be your one focus for being able to protect yourself as well.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold on to it for now.
Okay. So next up we have Chase and the robotic hound that you've engaged with. Um, and for that, it is about 3 spaces, for them also being a fort as well. Um, and it has 3 tokens. So it is going to, as you kind of zoom in closer with your hoverboard and start to kind of like, go on to take one of these, one of them gets kind of a beat on you and does leap out to try and strike at you, spending 1 token to do so. Are you going to spend a focus to stop it, or are you going to get hit?
I will spend a focus to stop it. I think what it looks like is I see this thing leaping at Chase, and I kind of almost fall back sideways on the hoverboard, letting the jets like push me away from it faster than it can like snap down on me. So I'm almost
Perfect.
like parallel with the ground.
Yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, you're able to just skate right by it, and now it is now your turn to act. So you weren't in that initial session, but like kind of as explained, the green is you currently.
Right.
The red is on your sheet is it. So you're in position 2, it's in position 5. That puts it 3 spaces away from you. Right now, that would mean you'd have to spend 1 token to strike, which would allow you to gain 1 point but shift 1 position, or you can do any of the other actions to try and change its placement with yours. Ideally, with you being forward based, you're suited to being within 1 to 2 spaces, means you don't have to spend any points after that point to strike.
Okay. So I'd want to move 1 position, basically. At
You'd
least.
want to be at least 1 closer. the caveat to that is that to move, you either have to burn your whole turn with a trip or a evade, which allows you to shift 2,
Right.
or you can move 1 position after striking, but you still have to spend that initial token to strike, which then lets you move that 1 position.
Okay, well that seems like a win-win. So I will do that. I will strike at it and move 1 position closer.
Okay, so when you're battling on your motorcycle, you are still summoning your monsters to kind of engage and deal this damage. So how and what are you summoning out to strike at this hound?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think in this particular case, Chase is going to, so he falls back parallel, and then he is going to jet away from it a little bit, kind of like reach his hand down, set it on the ground, pivot himself to sort of whiplash around and go flying back at this thing. And as he does that, can I channel the magic of my cards through the hoverboard? Is that how it works? Or
I'm fine with it. Describe how the flavor works. 'Cause, basically, so how this works is like because it's kind of this hybrid blend, right? You still have the cards, but you are using magic you've gained from your spirit to be able to bring these things into reality. So how they appear and move will be a little bit different than just like a traditional Yu-Gi-Oh representation, and is going to be more similar to like the ancient pharaoh battles described in like the first thing, where it's much more like you're literally unleashing magic or summoning monsters. So yeah, how does this channel through your board?
Cool. So he whips around and he goes flying back at the it's like a robot wolf, right?
Yeah. If anyone wants to look, the card name is Ally of Justice Core Destroyer, but it's like a little like kind of hound looking thing.
Cool. So as he jets back towards it, he is going to like right as they're on it looks like they're going to collide into each other. At the last second, he's going to basically like Ollie. He's going to like reach down and like grab the board and go up over it. And right as he's like at the highest point over it, he's going to slam one hand down on the deck itself and channel the power of the blue flame swordsman through it so that the jets under the hoverboard just like blast this thing with gouts of magical blue flame, I guess.
Love that. So yeah, this blue flame bursts out, scorching this thing as the energy of like the blue flame scorching comes through. And I know this, but for the people listening at home, what artifact containing your spirit are you kind of holding on to channel this magic?
I think it is hadn't exactly settled on where he keeps it, but I think there is probably, oh gosh, I don't know, that's really tricky actually, because I feel like I'm gonna come up with something cooler. But we'll say that right now,
on it.
Yeah, in his hand, he has a broken like katana hilt, like it is the hilt of a sword that is broken off just like an inch after the blade starts. So it's mostly just the hilt at this point.
Perfect. Yeah, and you're just holding that, able to work that energy through,
Yes.
and you scorch this thing, and that does allow you to gain that 1 point, and shift 1 position. So you're moving 1 position closer.
Yes.
So we'll use that to
Cool.
move you.
And that means that I can strike for free in the future?
Yes, assuming it does not
Right.
relocate, you get to strike for free on your next turn because it's within that position range.
Cool.
All right. Now, what about our other 2 menaces? What is Timmy and Spencer doing?
So I think first, Timmy, like
Right.
Spencer
Okay.
kind of draws back a bit, so he's a little more in line with Timmy, and you just hear Spencer go, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Which isn't a reaction Spencer typically has. Like, he does tend to be pretty level-headed. But at that point, he shifts and follows after the two of them, who have gone to go after the hounds. And I think only Timmy notices this, but for a moment, Spencer almost overbalances on his bike. Um, and you're not sure why, but I think Timmy's noticing Spencer seems a little bit off.
Be
Okay.
careful.
And are you doing a shift, an evade, or a brace? Because it doesn't sound like you're striking, at least initially.
I'm debating my options. I think for the moment, I'm going to be doing a trip.
Oh yeah, that was the word I meant. Yes, a trip. Okay. So you're shifting the hounds. Are you shifting them closer to you or away, or how are you shifting them?
Closer to me.
Okay. The full 2 spaces.
Yes.
And how does that manifest? Are you using the motorcycle to kind of push them around? Do you have something you've summoned to kind of create that pressure? How are you creating this impact on them?
I think it's more on the shifting them, like by corralling them, like shifting the motorcycle and bringing like that off to the side, so that they have no choice but to move or, be hit, basically.
Perfect. And then last up, is Timmy doing anything?
Yeah, Timmy's gonna go ahead and take a strike and shift back one position.
Okay.
For the strike, I'm gonna go ahead and summon let me hold on. Excuse Scapegoat, could you help me out here? And you see the little goats pop up around the hounds. And one of them just kind of latches onto the hound that I'm focusing on.
So just getting pestered by little scapegoats.
I mean, they are goats.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's so good. All right, so yeah, you spend a token.
I do spend a token.
And then that shifts you back 1 space. So that and clear that. Perfect. And then it is the hounds, the 3 remaining hounds that have not acted yet. So look at each view. So I think the one that is you kind of like pushed in close to one Spencer, I think that one is going to probably try and lash out at you. Because they are also forge specialists, so they are fine with you being a little bit up close. Are you going to allow them to basically accrue the point and land a hit on you, or are you going to spend your focus to block them?
I'll let them land a hit.
Okay. So
Spencer likes the pain.
So yeah, this hound leaps up and manages to like it's like you because it doesn't actually have teeth, but because it's this robotic thing, but its face does come in like a point, and so it's almost more like a beak a little bit that manages to like kind of tear at what you're wearing and kind of hurt you a little bit on your bike as you kind of have to like stabilize from the hit. And it is, instead of shifting, it is going to keep in the same positioning. And then we will go to one of the ones that is near Gideon. And again, same thing. These things kind of thrive for being up close. So it is going to leap at you, Gideon. Are you spending a focus to block it, or are you taking the hit as well?
No, I'm going to take the hit.
Okay. So yeah, same thing. And this one actually, because they also have points on their tail. So this one kind of just runs up closer, and its tail swipes out and manages to cut across you as it accrues a point. And then, lastly, Timmy happens to be far enough away that these things do not really have a good option. So it is
Timmy's
going
preferred
to
position.
yeah. They are going to take the evade option and try and run closer to over where Timmy is. So it's going to move from position 5 up to position 3. And we're back up at the top with Gideon.
So it sort of like stabs into his arm with its tail.
Mhm.
And I think he like instinctively sort of like shoves at it. And as it falls back to the road, Gideon, I like put my arm out, and Gideon wears this almost like fist-sized shield around his neck on like a chain, and it begins to sort of glow and pulsate a bit. And you can see this like very bright clawed furred hand sort of superimposed over his own. And as he has his arm stretched out, you can hear the sound of like metal dragging against gravel, and there are like sparks flying as this like intricate, ornate golden and silver halberd sort of like semi materializes. And he just sort of like pulls it up and swings it, trying to like go through this thing. I'm going to be doing a strike.
Mhm. And what card of yours are you channeling when you're doing this?
I am chargling. I am channeling Wolf, Flightforn Beast.
Yes.
And
Right.
I think actually I am going to spend my focus.
Mhm.
And if assumedly there's another one nearby, um he'll kind of like pivot a bit, and pull up the halberd and try and stab it down on the other side of him, for a second strike.
Okay.
Spend a token. Leaves me tokenless. All the more
That
reason
shouldn't
to
have cost
donate.
you a token.
Oh,
Because
right,
you
because
are
I
they're
forgot. Yeah.
up
Yep.
on you, so neither of those should cost you a token.
Thank you. And here I was trying to force people to donate more.
I mean, feel free. We're going to need those tokens. It's far from the only threats in the game, but
Give us your money.
Not us. Don't give it to us, but
Well, yeah, through the donation link
good
provided.
causes, dear buddy.
yeah. Y'all know what we mean. Yeah, so that's what Gideon is doing.
Perfect. Sorry, I saw the comment on the chat about that. The incredible description of action and then I strike, and that is so accurate. It's a whole side tangent about how Ori and like techniques drove me nuts because it's like you're doing the same flowing action every time. But anyway, so that is 2 points from that. And I am actually going to adjust what I said earlier. So rather than each of you racing the 3 to dispatch these, I think we're going to stick with how this game normally does 5 for combo breaker things, but it's going to be an accumulated 5 across all of you or all of them. So you all are collectively up to 3 at this point. So 2 more points, and you're able to resolve this, essentially.
Question, real quick. I'm sorry. Would it be reasonable to be able to? Because I had said at the beginning that I wanted to try and take some of these with us.
Uh-huh.
Would it be reasonable to be able to like the one that I had like skewered to like pull over to myself, so that we can like physically have like control of it?
So here's what I'm gonna say. You can absolutely recover enough to have one to take with you, but that's gonna be a rewarding move. So
Okay.
what? Either now or when we get to the end of this, just think on which of your moves, how you might be able to use that to create a situation where instead of fleeing, you're being destroyed or something like that. You have one of these salvageable enough.
Definitely, yeah. Sounds great. Thank you.
And then, yeah, absolutely. Next up is Chase, and I think your sacrifice earlier was worth one round of being behind, but I think you struck back at this thing and got yourself in a healthier position. So, what are you doing?
Oh, cool. I wasn't muted. um, so seeing Gideon pull out the big guns, I think Chase would be like, "Oh, all right, we're doing this," and is going to. They have not changed position, right? So
The ones that are fighting three of you have not really. They're staying
okay,
up with you because they like being in close too.
right,
The one that latched onto Timmy definitely started charging towards him
sure,
uh, because that one was far away. But you all close distance on things that also like to be up close, so they're staying in the same position range.
okay, got it. Hmm.
Though actually, with that in mind, I forgot to do that for yours. You're the only one who wasn't right up on yours. Yours probably would have. Oh no, you blocked it. That's why.
I did, yeah,
So it didn't get a chance to move. So yeah, it hasn't gotten to move. So it's
cool,
two spaces away, which for you would make it free for you. That's
cool.
in
All
your
right,
free range if you're striking.
awesome. Then that same sort of thing, pulling out the broken sword, uh, whipping around a corner once again to slingshot back at this thing, just kind of Chase's style. Uh, with the broken katana hilt in hand, I would like to channel power into that. And I think what's going to happen is it's just going to burst into this like giant sword of energy, of like golden energy that has sort of like flames coming off of it, which he is then going to whip past this thing in true anime style, so that it, we see the side view of it. We see him like sort of slow down on the other side and see this thing has been cut, ideally. Um, and that is going to be Divine Sword Phoenix Blade.
Perfect. Yep, I love that.
So that's a strike.
Yep.
I
So that is
strike.
going to. That's gonna put you up to 2 points. Are you also moving closer post that, since you can also shift one position as well?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay. I also love that I wasn't thinking of channeling it through the blade when we first described this, but now I love how many sword cards you have because that works perfectly with
Oh,
that.
I thought about it.
Uh,
I don't know if you know
and
this about Will, but he loves swords.
I do like swords. Swords are cool.
They are cool.
I mean,
Agreed.
to quote a recent very solid panel, whose first character wasn't a sad boy with a giant sword.
Chase isn't sad, but he does have a giant sword.
First character. We've
Yeah.
we've grown, we've advanced. Now we can
Right.
make happy boys with giant swords.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
Listen, it's 2023. We're doing happy boys with giant swords.
Well, we'll see. Let's see how the weekend.
Yeah.
I'd like to remind the audience that the size of your sword doesn't matter. It's the technique of your swing.
That is true.
That is true.
Accurate.
Representation.
You know, just in case somebody with a little sword is watching in the audience and they feel a little weird about it, you know.
That is fair. Also, yes to the comment, your comment about Yu Hakusho, because
Kuwabara.
it's me and Will of the game. So yeah, that's probably a fair expected reference to show up as well.
Solid call out.
So yeah, you kind of that one. Y'all are up to 4 points now. we have still Spencer and Timmy before the hounds act. If either of you strike, you do secure the 5 points needed to resolve this, or if you do something else, just let us know what it is.
So, I would like to strike.
Mhm.
As the hound had jumped up on, like, to attack Spencer, probably tearing through part of his leather jacket in the process of stabbing at him. Something happens that none of you have ever seen from Spencer before. It looks like he's trying to channel, and you know he's good at channeling. I mean, you've seen him summon a fucking dragon. Like, he is very good at this. His arms start glowing an electric blue. And it looks like he's going to let that energy out, although you're not sure where he's channeling it from, because you know that Spencer's item is a worry stone around his neck, and he is not holding that. In fact, he's not holding anything but the bike. And so it looks like he's looking to unleash this energy, as ill-formed as it is, at the hound. But I would like to use the complicating move, have feelings flare up at a bad time. And I think in his anger over what just happened with the hound, over his anger over what he's been hearing about menaces going missing, the energy doesn't really go anywhere productive. In fact, I think it might go into his bike and short circuit it a bit, because he is not able to channel it in the direction it was going in.
Perfect. So yeah, take a token, and yeah, you just kind of get overwhelmed. This energy can't seem to solidify into anything solid, and kind of disperses. And you actually kind of like your bike chugs a little, and you kind of pull away from this thing even a little bit as you're like kind of not quite doing what was expected. And what about Timmy?
Just a quick rules question. If there is no cost of a token, but there is a plus modifier, then it costs 1 token, correct?
Let's see. So if you're in the no modifier category,
I am technically in the +1 category, and a trip is just shifting an opponent, but it doesn't cost a token.
No, you're good. That won't cost. It's only strike is affected.
Oh, great, fantastic. I'll go ahead and yeah, sure. This will be fun. Can I keep, are the scapegoats still out? Do they disappear after the action?
No, you can have kept them manifesting.
Fantastic. Guys, I need some help here, please. And the scapegoats rush over to trip up the hound that's coming over me, so that we can shift him back to.
I love these adorable little goats just pestering these robot hounds and forcing it back. So yeah, the hound is pushed back to 5. And I guess we're back around. Well, we're to the hound unless Timmy is taking a focus to take an additional action, which you can do.
Yeah, let's take a focus and strike it. Let's do a hit.
All right. How are you finishing off this hound, and by extension, this collection of hounds?
Baby dragon, I need you to finish it off for me. And I grab my dog tags to just really make sure that baby dragon comes out. And it comes out and it goes, Rah! And just a little tiny flame hits the hound, and that was enough.
Perfect. Yeah, baby dragon breathes this tiny little bit of flame, and all the damage that these hounds have accrued just kind of takes their toll as they all start to like kind of. I think it's just enough damage that they all were starting to show it, and you see kind of them starting to slow and then going to try and peel off. But Gideon? Are you doing something to prevent at least one of them from doing that?
Unfortunately, I think that while that was Gideon's plan, between hearing Timmy calling for help and seeing Spencer have the backfire, Gideon's attention immediately shifts away from these things, and he's going to sort of start easing off the throttle so he can cut back and start heading towards Spencer to check on Spencer and Timmy,
Can
and obviously Chase as well.
can I actually, in that case, use a rewarding move to see if I can encourage Gideon to not give up? I would like to use my rewarding move, focus the menaces on a mutual enemy, and say, "Don't let it get away, Gideon. Don't let it get away."
We haven't done this before.
Timmy, don't worry about it. Gideon, don't let it get away.
Yeah, and I think upon saying that, Gideon immediately just like burning rubber skids and is going to shoot off in their direction to try and catch them with a nod.
Okay. So one, that is a token spent by Spencer. Is that type of change action, the way you did that, typical in character for Spencer?
No, it's not.
I suspected not. Um,
Spicy Spencer.
uh, and you are going. So how is Gideon spending a token to do this?
So I think Gideon is like I said, he's like driving after them, and I think he just kind of watches them for a moment as they retreat, watching where they've been damaged and where their weak points might be. And I have a move called Exploit a Weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking maybe I could use the halberd, and although it is not scientifically accurate, maybe chuck it kind of spear-like at them to try and knock one over so that I can gain on them and sort of just scoop it up as I go past.
No, I think that definitely makes sense. Also, for if anyone's getting froggy anywhere watching this, just a reminder that Kaiba invented time travel so he could go back and fight his best friend / rival / love interest. So, like, bad science is canon.
I completely forgot about that. I no longer will feel even remotely bad about things like this. Let's go.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. So you're able to salvage one with this maneuver, spending one token as well. And the rest of the hounds peel off. And as you all kind of manage to come to a stop, having dealt with this, what's kind of going on emotionally, interaction wise? What's the conversation like? What's happening?
I feel like Gideon will definitely enter the scene a little bit later because he has driven off like that. But I do definitely have some ideas for when he arrives.
I'm going to say Spencer is strangely silent. Like, he's usually the one kind of trying to rally all of you together. And he's watching Gideon to see whether Gideon is following what he asked him to do. But he looks shaken and he looks angry. And neither of those are emotions you would associate with Spencer whatsoever. He has his emotional ups and downs, but he's pretty steady.
How are Chase and Timmy doing?
I realized I was muted the entire time. What's going on, Spence? That was a bit of a rough one, huh?
If
Nothing's wrong to me. Everything's fine.
did Gideon jet off after them?
Yeah.
And Chase would say like, all right, I'll race you, and would follow after, making it kind of a game.
Incredible.
Fantastic.
There is a very clear lack of amusement on Gideon's face.
Chase is completely oblivious to that. He's like, this is so much fun.
Would Chase say the chase is on?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
If this was the 4Kids dub, he absolutely would.
He might.
100%.
Chase is on.
Oh god.
Uh,
Yeah. I think with that being the case, once Gideon manages to scoop one up, he will hit like a hard U-turn and just jet back past Chase without a word back towards the other two. And
That's
again,
suspicious.
there is a look that he shoots Chase for a moment that is not amusement at all.
Okay. Fair
Yes,
enough.
not suspicious at all.
And you both make it back to the group. One mechanical hound alongside. And Gideon, you said you had something for when you get back.
Yeah, so when Gideon makes it back, which I assume is probably a couple seconds before Chase, Gideon gets off his bike and literally like flings the thing to the ground and then like puts a boot on its like robotic neck to hold it in place, and then gives a quick glance over to Timmy and is like, "You all right?"
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I managed to get the one that was coming after me.
"You did good." And then he looks over at Spencer and he goes,
What?
"You know what
What?
happened?"
I don't fucking know what happened. Okay?
That's all right. It happens sometimes. Take a minute.
Yeah.
Take a
Yeah,
breath.
shit happens. Yeah.
Whew, I really thought I had you there for a second, but man.
Yeah, what the fuck was that, Chase?
The huge eye roll as he hears Chase arrive.
Chase like arrives and like hops off the board, sleep it over his back, and like it's like, what?
This isn't a fucking game.
No, but that doesn't mean it's not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not?
No, it's not. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Spencer,
Spencer never talks like this. I'm going to specify, like, you have never heard Spencer talk like this to any of you.
Chase, what do you think we're doing here?
Toppling beating the bad people?
Could you say that with a little more confidence? Also, people are going missing. There's a lot of shit happening right now.
Spencer, take a breath.
I don't need to take a fucking breath, Gideon.
Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I hear myself.
I'm
What, are
just
you the
cowering
tone
in the
police now?
corner. Just as a
You
heads
guys
up,
are
I'm
scaring
cowering.
Timmy.
Yeah, you're scaring Timmy.
Yeah, I don't care about Timmy. I don't care about any of you.
Wow. What the fuck?
I don't know what's going on in your head, but you don't mean that. Maybe you need to take a walk.
No, I do mean that. I do mean that, Gideon. I don't care about any of you. I don't have any reason to care about any of you.
But Spencer, we're friends.
Spencer, it's the first session.
Stop calling me Spencer.
And call you what instead?
Wow, are you all that oblivious? I thought you were friends with my brother.
What?
I see.
I'm very new and I'm pretty lost. You have a brother?
Yes, I have a brother. You know my brother. His name is Spencer. I'm
You're
not my brother.
Spencer.
No,
No, he's
no,
not.
no, I'm fucking not.
So why are you here?
Because Spencer's missing, and Ainsley thought it would be good to check in, maybe get the lay of the land, because with your mom and all, wasn't entirely convinced you didn't have something to do with it.
I will kindly, respectfully suggest you watch your fucking mouth.
Guys, this is the. You don't mean this.
Oh, I do. I mean all of this. I'm here to find my brother. That's what I'm here for.
Well, if you're here to find your brother, then it seems like it or not, our interests are aligned. Worst case, yeah, I'm the one who did it. Big evil bad asshole. Great. Only way you're gonna find out is by playing nice, right?
I've been playing nice up until now.
Oh, this is playing nice.
Chase, I don't like this.
I don't know what. Me neither. I don't think. Do you know what's happening?
All right, Chase. Gonna lay it out. Spencer. It's my twin brother. He's missing. Probably taken by one of those things that Gideon over here just grabbed.
Like just
Uh,
now?
No, he's been gone a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So, out of character for a second, do we know Chase Spencer had a twin brother or
No.
twin sibling? No, we did not know this.
You have heard him mention having a brother, but the only person who has ever seen anything of Spencer's brother is Gideon. And when Gideon saw him, he was in a half face mask and a beanie. So there really was no identifying characteristics.
Yeah, there was
Gotcha.
no way to know.
Yeah.
Clearly.
How are we supposed to know he went missing?
No, Spencer went missing, Timmy.
Well, I'm talking to the brother now.
Oh, okay.
You weren't, because you're right, I didn't tell you. And that's because I wanted to see if any of you were responsible.
So, what did you find out?
I don't know, Gideon. My brother trusts you. You betray that trust?
To what end?
Gideon, what is he saying?
He's talking about Lyra. Right? My
Yep.
mother?
Yep, your mother.
What about your mother?
Well, it's not exactly a secret that she walked out on whatever was left of the resistance, joined up with the government, became a part of whatever the machine that makes us sit here and suffer is.
I am learning so much about everybody's families today.
Imagine having a family.
We're your family, Timmy.
Thanks, Chase.
Gideon, me, not Spencer. We're your family.
If you're not
Oh,
Spencer,
character. Thank you.
What
I'm like
is your
waiting
name?
for someone to ask it.
I was like, are we supposed to know? No, right? No, we gotta find out.
So for Gideon, I think it's pretty public knowledge that this happened.
Okay.
I don't think it would be a secret at all, as long as
We
that's
can
cool.
retcon that. Audience, I knew that conversation didn't happen.
As long as that's cool with you, Liz.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool.
But yes, Katie, please, to Timmy's question, who are you actually playing?
My name is Evan. Nice to meet the three of you, I guess.
Love it.
I like that name so much more.
I don't.
Given the abduction, that's a little fucked up, Timmy.
Yeah, right?
What the fuck, Timmy?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What the fuck, Timmy?
Yeah, the game takes a hard left.
don't know why I said
You know what? We never liked Spencer. Evan seems real cool.
Judge.
And for the record, Spencer was the brains and the heart playbook. And what playbook is your new character?
I am doing the Lancer and the Heart for my playbook.
Oh, so good.
Ooh.
And as you all are still kind of rating off this, you've just heard this new figure's name. The tension's high in the air. You feel an outpouring of like magical energy behind you, like a strong outpouring in the distance, but like strong enough that you're like, it feels like it's like, it almost feels like a train of energy about to hit you, but also feels far away. And as you all turn and look to this energy in the sky hovering over the city in the distance, you see starting to form out of magic a giant golden leg with a chain around one of its ankles running down into the ground. And on that, we're going to cut to a break.
Oh, fuck.
We'll be back in about 10 minutes, y'all. Please stick around to figure out what's
Oh my
happening
goodness.
and what our
Jesus.
new characters are going to do.
Surely nothing is happening.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Hey.
All right. Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around with us, everyone. So yeah, some interesting reveals and a giant golden glowing leg appearing in the sky, chained to the ground. How do you all react to that?
Would Gideon be able to recognize what this leg might be?
So that is an interesting question, right? Because like kind of before the menaces started summoning and stuff again, Yu-Gi-Oh had become like the game had kind of become almost a little bit more relegated to like kind of the authority figures, at least to some extent. But this is a pretty powerful thing, a pretty infamous thing. So I think it's up to you. I think if you want to be very familiar, like more than just a passing, I think this might be blank, but like I know what this is and what it means and etc. I think that would be a perfectly good use of a flex your knowledge.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems like the right place for that.
Yep.
If
So
that's
yeah,
cool.
feel free to spend that token.
Yeah, I will spend that token. Now actually reducing my tokens to 0.
And are you going to tell the others what it is?
Yeah, so there's
Hey,
a moment.
what is that?
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
Bad.
No shit.
Your
Is that what,
attitude is charming.
is that what I think it is?
Well, if you think it is a giant, terrifying first part to I can't even begin to imagine the nightmare that comes when it's finished, then yes. How much do you know about Exodia?
About
Everything.
what?
Is that for eczema?
Gideon's gonna sort of like put a hand on Chase's shoulder and without looking away from the leg, just slowly shake his head and go, no. It is a incredibly powerful being broken up into pieces in order to stifle its power.
It was rumored that Kaiba saw it once.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So
Yes.
what does this mean?
We're gonna have to figure that out.
We don't have time to figure that out. We need to find my brother.
I would wager a guess that the menaces disappearing have something to do with this. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to do one while we do the other. And I can assure you, for whatever it's worth, we're going to find Spencer. And finally, Gideon will look back. What that means is that if we're working together, then we're working together. And you can't change your shit attitude overnight, but you're going to have to learn to respect the people you're riding with. Or all it's going to do is make it harder for us to accomplish our shared goal. So we need to know. And he's going to take his foot off the dog thing and pick it up and just sort of drag it and get like really close. Is that something you're going to be able to do?
I don't feel respected by you right now. I feel like you're way too close to me and up in my personal space. So maybe try taking a step back and we'll see.
I have a duty to them. So yeah, you can have whatever space you need as long as we can be comfortable with you riding with us. Otherwise, we're going to go our separate ways, and there's a whole lot more of a chance that this doesn't end well. So should I take that step back?
Taking that step back would certainly build some trust in my book. I don't like people getting this close to me.
I don't like people showing up pretending to be someone they're not. And with that, he does take the step back and turn and get on his bike. Let's go.
That was so cool, Gideon.
Shut up, Timmy.
And as you all get on your bikes or hoverboards,
Or
the
trikes.
radio station
Or
that you,
trikes.
Yeah.
yeah, or trikes,
I will not
the
stand
radio
for trike
station
erasure.
that you all keep playing, music at some level, all of a sudden cuts, and the DJ that usually speaks on that station, the WER 138, the Menaces radio, that is mostly used for music, but is occasionally used for coded communication, comes on. And the DJ explicitly communicates a particular turn of phrase that you all know means that there needs to be a meeting of all of the menaces at the usual place for that, which is the No Control Repair Shop, which is kind of like an underground repair place where usually if you need work done on your bikes or anything else techie, it's usually where you go. And is a pretty common meeting point for larger scale meetings of groups of covens from the menaces whenever multiple covens need to meet.
Hey guys. Hey guys. Hey guys. Sounds like we should really shake a leg. Get to that meeting.
Gideon speeds up.
That's the idea. That's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, let's race.
Oh, man.
Slow down, guys. I can't keep up. This is a great day if you have a foot fetish, huh?
Uh, and you are all able to make it pretty uninterrupted through the streets. This leg is still just floating in the sky over that part of town as you all head through various alleys and sideways to the shop. When you get there, those of you, should be all of you, who've been with Mists long enough, know you go around to the back, coded knock, slot slides open to check who it is, and then let you in. As you all come in, the person who lets you in is, you know them as Imtron. They are really tall, 6'4", have like dusky blonde hair with gray streaks, very lanky. They're wearing poorly fitted goggles, a kind of like that type of like zip up type of mechanics, like coveralls type of uniform. That's very like patchy patterned blue fabrics with, it seems pretty baggy on them. Wearing just like a very typical kind of bill like cap that's kind of got some of their hair tucked up into it. And they're using like a walking stick that they have a bunch of like tech kind of grafted onto. And they let you in, kind of nod to you all, and then go back to walking to work on like kind of like a table they have filled with stuff. You know that Imtron is usually kind of the more broad tech. If you need something that has to do with like hologram stuff, maybe more of the tech that's in like Chase's hoverboard, things like that, that's who you'd go to. The other person in the shop is that you know of is Duo, who's working off to the side. Duo barely acknowledges you all when you walk in. He's got long black hair with an undercut, gray eyes, and just very dark clothes. Always seems to be kind of like distant or aloof, and is always working on a bike, either someone else's bike or his bike. His bike is really, really nice. It's made of same as you all assembled, like scraps and parts, but it's just really well put together and well made. But in this instance, it looks like his bike's pulled off to the side, and he's tinkering on someone else's bike. And you notice that there are a few other covens that have already kind of made it here, scattered around. In particular, you notice two people, Lauren and Lane, who have a whole kind of aesthetic thing going on. It's like very obvious they're into dragons. Like that's definitely their thing. That's their whole kind of shtick. So Lauren's bike, which has like the front has like a dragon head on the front of it, is the one being worked on by Duo right now. Lauren has a like motorcycle helmet that has like a dragon head on the side, a motorcycle jacket that looks like kind of like almost like a draconic like bone chest piece with like wings on the back. Lane is a little bit more normal, but the dragon shtick is definitely still present. In her case, it manifests more in jewelry. She has like a gold kind of like draconic necklace, earrings, and like a kind of like headpiece that sticks up through her hair that's kind of framed in the same way. She has longer blonde hair. And also is kind of wearing just like general biker gear. They are kind of a power couple of their own kind of coven, with a few people who don't seem to also be here alongside them, but you're familiar with them. The other prominent coven you haven't seen here yet is kind of like those who have a spellcaster association. Alec, who's kind of like, there's no head of the misses. It's a group of like, you know, people coming together for a common cause, but Alec's usually the most in the know and kind of can take a leadership role. They and Queese, both who usually travel together because they're in the same coven, don't seem to be here yet. But And I'm sorry, because JD, you left it off the sheet so you wouldn't get confused. It's Evan, right?
Yep.
Okay. So Evan, you do recognize a familiar face because the third prominent coven you see here, standing off the side, is kind of, for lack of a better term, the greenhouse crew, who tend to all have kind of like a plant affiliation. And you do see Izzy and Ven standing off to the side. Izzy being your, a figure from your past who maybe you would like to describe what they look like.
Yeah, I would love to. I will have to grab my notes because it has been a while since I described them. But
I do have what you sent me if you'd like me to just kind of read that off.
yeah, we can do that too.
You describe him as a punk aesthetic, jean jacket or vest, lots of pins and patches, green hair with flowers woven into it, and a big fuck off sword on their back, to quote. And meanwhile, Ben, who's there with them, has very much nature goth aesthetic, like nature goth witch, like that kind of like cottage core, but with a turn towards goth. So like lots of like plants, particularly like mushrooms, dark clothing, kind of hair tied up in a bun, kind of drapier clothing as well. And those two are standing together. And then there's other misses trickled in, but those are kind of the big groups that you all know. And it seems like everyone's kind of in like a holding pattern, and you would imagine it is probably waiting on Alec and Queese to arrive.
Hey, Evan, should we maybe get you like a name tag or something? Because people are gonna think you're Spencer.
I mean, not everyone is going to think I'm Spencer. And he like nods towards Izzy and is like, they're not going to think I'm Spencer. They know who I am.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Hey, you guys. Hey, do you know who this is?
And Izzy kind of nods, and they and start to walk over, and they come up and actually kind of nod to you and all of you, and then turn and say, "Evan, it's good to see you," and go up to give you a hug.
How did they know?
And you hear as like Evan hugs Izzy, like you do hear him say like, shit, did I miss my last check-in with you? So sorry.
They kind of nod, they kind of chuckle and say, "You did, but it's okay. I know you're distracted with everything going on."
Yeah, I haven't been doing so great with my anger.
Yeah,
It's
they kind of give you a pointed look.
It's been a problem.
It could be a little scary.
And then they turn, all of you. I think I've seen most of you around, but I don't know if we've ever really spoke. So I'm Izzy. Nice to meet all of you. And this is Finn. Finn also gives off vaguely like brooding energy, but at least nods to all of you.
Hi, nice to meet y'all.
Which one of them has the sword?
That's Izzy.
Izzy. Cool. All right. Cool.
Yeah, Izzy is friendly despite the big fuck off sword.
Yeah.
One might even say you're allowed to be friendly if you regularly carry around a big fuck off sword. You have the
That's fair.
flexibility.
Wish it was under better. Oh God.
I was gonna say, so you do swords. I also do swords.
Oh, yeah, nice. Yeah, this is seems like the best place for my spirit to be comfortable, but it's also fun to have a sword around.
Wow. Yeah, no, I feel that so hard. It's so important for your spirit to be comfortable.
Name top
Absolutely.
3 swords.
Um, and yeah, or you all just kind of get to chatting. Gideon, did you have something you wanted to ask? You started to say?
Uh, so Gideon, seeing Chase sort of engaging them, and Evan also already sort of engaged with the two, is gonna sort of step over to Mtron
Mhm.
and sort of give him a nod and go. So I can take a guess, but what's got us all here?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I'd imagine your guess would be about accurate. Alec will have more information when they get here. But despite how ominous it may look, it's good news.
Okay. Well, I'll wait before taking the sigh of relief. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You
Um,
and he's gonna hold up the dog thing,
mhm.
the robot, and go, have you seen any of these running around lately?
I haven't gotten my hands on one, but I've heard about him. I think they're calling
Uh-huh.
him the. I mean, we aren't calling him, but I think the government name for him is Allies of Justice.
Oh yeah, that sounds about right. Well, congratulations, first good news of the day. He's gonna hold it out.
Yeah, they'll take it and prop it up on the table and just immediately start taking it apart and like just tinkering with it. Um, and as they're starting to work on it, you hear like a little bit of noise playing out of the end of the actually walking stick they keep on them. Sounds like there's a radio kind of built into all the random little bits of tech on it. And all of a sudden they stand up and go walk over, check the door, and then pull it open. And you see three more figures walk in. Um, the first of which you recognize is Alec, uh, from their shoulder length green and white hair, kind of like a clever looking face and glasses. Falling behind them is Queese. You also recognize from if Alec looks very polished, Queese looks about as ragged as you can get. They've got two-tone purple hair, shadowy purple eyes. They're wearing like a black choker with silver studs, matching black wristbands with silver studs. They've got like a greenish dress shirt that's like very untucked, a loose kind of tie and jeans, and then a raggedy black cloak like pulled over all of it, with like a single like literally like an armor piece pauldron, which I guess for a bunch of people carrying swords isn't that out of place, but it's like a pretty roughed up looking singular pauldron on one shoulder. Um, and those two you kind of expected, but coming in behind them, the third figure, you all recognize, but as someone you don't see a whole lot, especially at like meetings in the menaces, this person is like not inherently, they aren't a menace, so to speak. They are sometimes useful, but usually don't attend meetings or anything like that. You know them as Blackwood, uh, and they are wearing like a trench coat. Their face is covered in like wrapped bandages to where you can barely see their eyes. A kind of wide brimmed like fedora style like hat, and a like hanging necklace that looks like almost like an assembled puzzle piece, but like a square cube. And like gloves as well. Um, and they kind of walk in alongside the other two. Um, and Alec kind of walks up to the front of the group, uh, and like the quiet kind of settles over the room. Um, uh, and Alec starts to speak. Um, by now, I'm sure you've all figured out, at least to some extent, why we've called everyone here. Um, what you see in the sky is a good thing. Um, we wanted to make sure it worked before we talked to anyone, but we discovered a ritual, an old ritual, to something very powerful, something that can finally end this fight we've had going on for so long. If we can summon all five pieces and bring this thing into the world, it would be the force we need to finally push back the Dual City government and stop them from being able to hurt any more of us. It's going to be tough, and kind of gestures. Blackwood here has some reasons why, frankly, maybe even harder. Some news of some of what they've got going on that might get in our way. But if we can accomplish this, it can finally turn the tides in this fight for good. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll provide more details about how we're going to have to do this, and I'll also let Blackwood kind of lay out some of the stuff he's picked up about what the government has going on to try and impact us. But I also know this is a lot to just drop on all of you.
But if we can do it, what's to stop them from being able to do it?
Well, to our benefit, at least as far as we know, and again, this kind of ties in with Blackwood's news a little bit, but no one associated with the government has been able to summon things in the way we have. They can use their holograms and do some damage, but they don't seem to have anyone capable of working the magic like we have figured out. So they can't summon it the way we have. Now, they kind of nod over to Blackwood. Given the relevance of that prompt, I think it's probably worth if you share your news. Blackwood nods and steps forward. And this very deep voice, deeper than what I can do, frankly, comes out of this kind of bandage figure. They're trying. By now, you've all heard about menaces being abducted off the streets. Rumors I hear are of experiments trying to figure out or access the power that we're able to wield, or at least siphon the power of the monsters we're able to bring out. Kind of gestures over to actually the ally of justice that you have on the table that Imtron's working on. So these things are the first wave of what they've been able to do by putting the energy of monsters we are able to summon into something mechanical. But it doesn't stop there. They're working on potentially more dangerous hybrids of machine and spiritual energy. They've also seemingly caught wind of our plans and have started to put out propaganda to get the populace to turn on us. Pretty soon you'll be seeing reports of death cults gathering in groups to work magic that will kill off the populace, some sort of death curse. They're going to be broadcasting it on all of the channels, all the video screens, trying to get the populace to reveal our locations wherever we are. Hopefully, Alex's plan can complete before that becomes too big of a problem.
Where did you learn about this?
Which part?
Exodia.
Alec nods, and I mean, we all have our own spirit bonds, some older than others. We were able to speak with one old enough to remember what it took to summon the most powerful monster from back in the days when that was a possibility.
What makes you think you're going to be able to control it?
That was my next question.
If we summon it, I mean, I can't think of an instance of any of us losing control of the monsters we've been able to bring into this world. Why would this one be any different?
None of us
Just
have
because it's
ever
more powerful.
summoned anything even remotely close to that.
Isn't its full name the Forbidden One?
Yes.
Uh,
And you're
I-
talking about multiple menaces being involved in summoning this. Who's going to be holding the leash? Can anyone hold the leash?
um, I mean, in a way, that's what gives me more faith that will all be exerting energy over this thing. Yes, it will take multiple covens to summon it. We might be able to do it with just one if we had time, but with the government already knowing what we're planning, if we want to be successful at this, we're going to have to act quickly.
You're telling us you may have found a solution to this, that you may have a way for this to be over. But this is dangerous. And yes, I understand everything we do is dangerous. And I know that we risk it every day that we step out there and do anything to try and fight for freedom. But it doesn't change the fact that what you're doing here, without having consulted anyone, with all due respect, what you started here is something that could potentially be far more dangerous than anything we've ever dabbled in before, because the reality is, no matter what you want to call it, no matter how confident any of us might be, that's still what this is dabbling. And I want this to work, and I'm sure we all do, but it doesn't change the fact that this is... How long have you been planning this?
A couple of weeks. I mean, we acted as soon as we had the information. We had to know if it would work. I mean, this is a summon, as you've mentioned. This is a summon on a scale we hadn't tried before. We weren't sure until tonight that it was actually going to go through, but it did. I
We're still
understand your
not sure it'll
concerns.
go through.
I mean, that's true, but at least the first piece did.
What
And I
about the
understand.
menaces that have been taken? I mean, what about them? Couldn't they get caught in the crossfire? If you're using this being to take down the government, I mean, does it discriminate between government versus menace who's been kidnapped? Like, that seems like a huge fucking problem to me.
The hope that it would be that it would give us the power we need to free them. Um, I
Hope based on what?
what we need. I understand all your concerns. I do, but been in this fight a while. I'm sure some of you have as well. Every advance we make is on borrowed time. Those of you who know the history know what happened to the first rebellion. They made good strides till the government figured out how to shut them down. They're already working on things to harness the same powers we have in their own way. That thing on the table over there is the first, smallest, weakest trace of what's to come. And the little advantage we've had from having this magic that's more powerful than the hard holograms they've been able to replicate disappears the moment those things are fighting with the same energy. And then we're right back where we started, or worse off. I know it's risky, but I don't know if we have another option. I can't go back to a world where we have no chance again.
I have a bad feeling, but you've let us well this far.
I don't like this. But
I don't either.
if you're right, you're right.
Could be costly.
It could.
Could cost an arm and a leg.
Edward.
Thank you, Chase.
It just seemed like it was, somebody had to do it.
Behind Alec, you hear a chuckle, and Queese says, "Ideally, 2 arms and a leg."
But what do we know it will cost us?
We don't. I mean, we did the first summon, and we all seem to be fine. The hope is that with each of us doing a piece of it, we could all bring it into the world together, each have a hand in steering it to the group's collective needs, and finally make a change for the better. But it is a big risk. I'm not naive in that. I just feel it's a risk that we have to take. But this is not, don't lead any of you. It's all of your decisions to make. It is likely only to succeed if we're all on board together. It's the only way we can get it done in time. But each of you has to make that choice.
I mean, it doesn't sound like you're giving us a choice. You're basically saying if one of us says no, we're all going to be fucked. So, how's that a choice?
One of you not so much, but we do need probably each of the main covens involved. But again, I'm not trying to give you that choice. The world has given us all that choice, me as much as any of you. I'm just laying it out there with a choice to get us out of it. You don't want to do it, that's fine. We'll try and make it happen.
When?
As quickly as possible. Ideally, we're going to move piece to piece. My hope was that each coven would split up and go to summon the remaining pieces so that we can do this before the government is able to track us down and eliminate those of us who know how to do it.
So do you mean now, tonight?
Yes.
Gideon, I don't like this.
We're going to need a minute to talk.
Is this like a hangman thing where there are a lot of different pieces, or is it like 2 legs, 2 arms? What are we looking at here? Torso, head,
five pieces.
5 pieces. Cool. Cool.
Ideally, looks to each of you. Ideally, each of you all would finish summoning the remaining arms and legs. Once those pieces are summoned, we'll be able to summon the head and torso, completing it.
Head and torso are 1 piece?
Yes.
Wild. Okay.
Kind of an odd choice. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 just feels better than 6,
I agree. I don't know.
You
feels like 2 different things. Feels like
you get a pentagram out of it versus a Star of David.
Yeah.
Haha, Exodia's Jewish.
He's ours.
I mean, it is based in Egypt,
I mean, yeah. We got to
yeah.
take some things away from there, right?
That's true.
Okay. Well, that's fine. What do we want to do? Do we get to pick?
We're going to take a minute and go talk about it first.
Yeah, we're
Is there
doing
anything
that.
else we should know before we step away?
I think that's all of it. Yeah, that's the core of it. If you decide to do it, we can teach you all the ritual, but other than that, it's up to you to make the decision.
And with that, Gideon's going to turn and walk back outside into the back alleyway.
Evan's gonna follow.
I think we all go outside.
You do see more motorcycles parked out there. Mostly familiar. The one you don't recognize, though by process of elimination, you managed to tie to Blackwood. That is this long motorcycle with the front looking almost like the style of an older style, 30s, 40s car. So it's got this kind of boxy with a grill on the front and two wheels next to each other. It's kind of longer, boxier style.
That's rad as fuck.
Yeah,
It's true.
Hey, I'm just gonna ask the obvious question here: is Evan in the gang now?
no.
Okay. Does he get a vote?
Well, we're going to hear what everyone has to say, and then we'll go from there.
All right.
Evan's here. For better or worse, we have a shared goal. Maybe two.
Spencer
what
will
we're gonna
want
work
that.
But do we know what kind of a relationship they had? Were they friendly?
No, we didn't know Evan existed.
Yeah. I feel like if they were real tight, we probably would have heard about you before now.
Yeah,
So-
my whole thing is I gotta be I want the power of friendship to prevail because
For
I'm
sure.
scared.
Look,
Yeah, I don't know, Gideon. What kind of relationship did Spencer have with me?
you're here. And I think with you being here, you get a voice. Part of what sets us apart. I know about familial bullshit better than anyone.
You all are making a lot of assumptions about my relationship with my brother.
At least you have a brother.
Yes, thank you for that, Timmy.
We're your brothers, Timmy.
Timmy tragic backstory arc when
You gotta do a
We're
flashback
now.
we're gonna
episode, yeah.
reveal bits and pieces as we go along, of course.
Well, I've got a good relationship with my brother. We just got tired of everyone seeing us as a matched set. So we went our own ways. But Gideon, you know that me and him still met up.
I do.
I have a not great feeling about this.
Yeah, I
But-
don't have a good feeling either.
What if it is an opportunity out?
I have a question. Can we communicate verbally with our spirits?
yes. I don't know if I would say the others hear it, but certainly internally, you absolutely do. Some may be more verbal than others. Some may even communicate through emotion or feelings or stuff like that more than a typically communicative relationship. That's up to you, but you absolutely can if you want it to be that type of relationship.
Okay. I will keep that in my pocket for a little later.
I think the question is what happens after, right?
Yeah.
You summon this thing, you ultimate power, whatever, destroy the government. Does it go away after that? Does one person control it? Because that feels like a recipe for history repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be a way out.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the only way out. And I'm just gonna put it out there. We were told not all of us were needed. Maybe we see if we can make multiple opportunities tonight. Because I'm just gonna be honest. I'm probably not a person you want involved in this ritual.
Why?
Aside from the obvious.
Because I'm not like my brother. Spencer's so good at using magic and wielding it. I can barely summon anything. I mean, you saw earlier. I've been trying for months and months and months and months. And I don't know. I just can't seem to do it in the same way that Spencer can. And so I don't know what's going to happen if you put me in that ritual. But I don't think we want what happened earlier to happen when we're trying to summon this godlike thing. And no offense, Chase, but you seem like you're still kind of learning as well.
Yeah, I guess. The magic part's easy.
Just
No
these
offense.
card game rules.
Yeah, the game's got a lot of rules, but the magic part's like real easy.
You know, just like summon a big thing and hit other things, and now there's all this complicated summoning mechanics.
Yeah, like Timmy's always talking about link summoning, and like I don't know what that is, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask.
I keep telling you, you just have to.
When the arrows point to the zones, and then you can.
Yeah. Right, the zones. I keep forgetting about the zones.
Danger zone. So what are we gonna do? What's the alternative?
That's the real question.
I think the alternative is trying to figure out where they're holding the menaces that they've kidnapped and getting them the fuck out of there.
It doesn't stop them from doing it again.
It doesn't, but you know what? Better to have them out and safe, first of all, than to have their powers being used in those ways. We don't know for certain that they can't use the people they've kidnapped to try to summon something as big as what we're about to try to summon. Like, we don't know that. And I don't really want my brother to be caught in the middle of that.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think Evan might have a point.
Thank you.
Because the ritual happens tonight no matter what, right? They said they don't need everybody. So even if we don't do it, it happens anyway. Exodia shows up or whatever and like wrecks the place. If nobody else is going to prioritize the people who've been taken, at the very least, we could try to get them to safety before, you know, the God thing destroys everything.
Exactly. Thank you, Chase.
Let's find Spencer.
Yeah. Ultimately, you're right. This is going to happen no matter what.
And we need him and his gifts.
You know, even if we didn't need him, it wouldn't mean saving him is any less important. Okay.
And we'll find your mom while we're at it, I think. I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention.
Chase!
If somehow we come across Lyra, I'll deal with it.
Okay.
Mommy?
Don't worry about that. Hope we don't.
Got it. Okay, cool. Well,
Let's let... What's his name? Alec? Is that his name?
I think his name is Alec.
Let's let Alec know what... We'll go find Spencer. I'm trying so hard not to slip into a Morty from Rick and Morty.
You're killing
You
it.
hear it sometimes, yeah.
I'm trying so hard to avoid it.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good. I think
So y'all head back in?
Gideon's going to hang back when they head in.
Evan's gonna hang back as well.
Oh,
Chase is also gonna hang back. No, I'm kidding.
Are they gonna kiss?
No. All right, Timmy, let's go tell them that we're not gonna do their spooky ritual.
All right, Jay. Spooky ritual got me.
We go
And so
back
we head inside. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be in a minute. But I'm glad you're here. And know that were fortunes reversed and you were the one who'd gone missing, we'd go get you too.
You know, my brother's always spoken highly of you, Gideon. I didn't trust you, but he does, and I don't generally think my brother's a bad judge of character.
That
And I
depends on
think
how highly he spoke of me.
I think it's fair to say you're the best friend he's ever had, to hear him tell it.
He's the best family I've ever had. Not that the bar's particularly high.
Well, I could say the same. Thank you for having my back.
Yeah.
And Evan's going to go inside and give Gideon the moment he needs.
And the moment Evan is inside, there is a like slump to the normally rigid stance that Gideon keeps. And he puts a hand against the wall and just kind of like hangs his head and lets out a breath he didn't even know he was holding. And he's gonna reach up and grab the shield crust and close his eyes for a moment. And I think for him the way it works is he sees the physical manifestation, though translucent, of Jane, Lightsworn Paladin. And he sort of just like looks over at them and goes, "This could really be over tonight."
And does Jane usually like talk back with you fully?
Yeah, I think so.
And yeah, um, nods and it could. You trust it?
I want to.
You need to.
It's exactly why I don't.
Well, you know better than anyone that success comes with sacrifices. How many and which ones are you willing to make?
None. Not them.
Then it might be harder.
Yeah. Don't like this position. I have to figure out what the right move is. Have no time and barely any information to do it. They need it. So I will.
mean, ticking clock is usually how we operate in some variety. This one's just a little bit more severe and shorter.
Yeah. I just hope I'm not leading them into something worse.
I think you just
Mm.
have to hope.
Yeah. That's what we do. We hope. And Gideon lets go of the pendant, takes another moment, to stand back up. And I'd like to do a complicating move.
Mm-hmm.
Because this very much feels like Gideon is deeply doubting himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it is definitely going to be, for him, I think, an ongoing thing in this particular situation that is going to hinder his ability to make the choices that he feels he has to make.
Okay. Yeah, take a token and we'll revisit that as it may come up.
Okay.
Do you head back in?
Yeah, and I head back in.
Okay. This general kind of murmuring has been around as people have all been discussing this. As you walk back in and Out kind of nods and there's kind of a quiet starts to settle because it's the realization is that everybody who has to discuss on this is returned. And Out kind of looks and asks to the group, what have you all decided? Kind of looks to the others first. Izzy and Vin nod. We'll take our part. Lauren and Lane nod as well. We'll do what we have to. And then Alec looks to you all.
Was this happening before Gideon got back in, or?
No, I think
Okay.
they left it up to discussion until everyone had returned.
Cool,
So there was like, while you two were in there was just a lot of like muttering and discussion and like people talking amongst themselves. And now it kind of like they don't clear their throat to get attention. There's just kind of like a vibe of like Alex about to speak and kind of like a quiet kind of settles.
They're so hot.
They are. That may be part of it. So if I'm being frank, I think Queese is more my type.
I'm waiting for you to describe a single character who's not my type. Like,
Yeah, fair enough.
That is the vibe of the game.
Yeah, everybody's hot.
Let me just make pretty OCs all day.
yeah,
No,
let's go.
We love it.
Waiting for my Valentine to show up.
Our Valentine
No one
comrade.
picked her as a spirit. It was a perfectly acceptable option. Yeah, so Ack looks to you all.
We talked about it, and we think that it makes sense that this has to happen tonight, but it's just as important that it does. But just as important as that it does is that the people who have disappeared are not caught in the backlash. So we're going to go find them.
Understood. If the others are still able to do their piece, it shouldn't delay the ritual too much. Once we return to the sanctuary, we can summon uh, the other arm, letting you two do the arm and the leg. And then as soon as we complete that, um, should be enough of us with enough energy remaining to go straight into the ritual to summon the torso. My only
and the head. Don't forget about
and
the
the
head.
head. It's a one of a piece deal. 2 for 1 if you were.
So no head.
My only ask is that if you do find and free them, make your way either for the others or for this. Honestly, for the sanctuary, we may need, depending on how this affects timing, some help in holding off potential forces while we complete the final ritual.
After we find them, I think we can do that. Oh,
no, I was just going to say, out of character, you all know of a sanctuary. It's literally the sanctuary of the spellcasters is where that coven is at. You all know a general place of it, assuming you can get there, would locate it, but it's kind of like a protected space.
Gideon will look at Evan and Chase and Timmy. Yeah, we can. After we find them, we can do that.
Yeah.
There's a sanctuary?
Don't worry, Chase. It's your first day.
I think okay. No, sorry. Yeah, I remember now. I've been there before. We're good. Don't worry, Alec. We're good.
The sanctuary is very removed. Most ministers do not stay there because it's kind of like a core small place. Basically, each coven kind of has their own like kind of home base style space. The sanctuary, just in particular, some members of the spellcaster coven will stay there and like work magic to keep it more protected, versus the others are more of a hidden style thing than a actually protected by magic style thing.
Yeah.
Autobots, roll out.
With that, like everyone starts to kind of split up to get like the pieces they need. Particularly before it kind of breaks up, Blackwood seems to kind of beeline to you all. If you're going after those who were captured, I might have an idea of where you should start looking, and tells you all about a particular government facility that you think might be a likely place for them all to be kept. It's going to be tough. It's well protected, but it's probably your best bet.
You didn't think to like lead with that information, like that this seems really helpful and would have been even more helpful in the decision making.
I mean, to be frank, I would attack this place without a giant 5-piece summoned spiritual guardian backing me up. But if you're going to do it anyway, I can at least point you in the right direction.
But
Yeah, well, I mean, that's you.
Yeah, it's a good thing you're working on that then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I have a 2-piece summon.
That's progress.
Yeah.
Step in the right direction.
Maybe we could, link summon something just as powerful.
Link summoning wasn't invented yet.
Well, I don't know.
And you're all like, he exchanges this information. You're all talking, and then you hear like a burst of like noise from what looks like Imtron's walking stick, and he sits bolt upright and starts to move for the wall, like or for the door. and then as this happens, the walls like get like knocked down, and you see floods of those little like mechanical hounds start to run into the building, and floating behind them in the air are these larger things. They look, frankly, they kind of look like a mind flayer head a little bit. Like they've got like jet engines underneath, but the top part is this long kind of cephalopod like kind of base with like mechanical tentacles coming out of it, and then like in the center a spitting like pointed kind of mouth like piece, and several of those start to sweep in behind the hounds into the space where you're all in.
Liz, you can't say mind flayer anymore.
Oh,
The
you're
OGL
right.
has been repealed.
Wait. Not till Friday. Not till Friday.
Right.
Brain, these things that are shaped like a brain fillets.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect.
Into the space. Sorry, the arms.
Yeah, I was not ready for the arms.
And as you all these things starting to storm in, Duo and Imtron both stand and shout at you all to get out of here and do what you need to do. And both start. You see Imtron holding up their staff and energy starting to channel from it. And Duo has actually a little cat, tuxedo cat, jump up onto their shoulder with a little charm around its neck that they grab and starts to glow. And are you all heading to your bikes?
Yes.
Bike strikes and hoverboard.
Yes. Bike strikes and hoverboards.
Bikes is a broad term.
Yeah.
I like to imagine this state of the world, bike is like the replacement word for vehicle, and they all fall under that category. Like hoverboard's a bike, strikes a bike, it's all a bike.
Yeah.
And
So
yeah,
got
as
the
you all,
unicycle.
everyone makes a break for their respective bikes, and as you are all doing this, you see from around Imtron a series of like humanoid looking kind of figures in like robes and draped blue cloth with like swords and other various weapons start to appear and slash out at these smaller hounds. And then even more energy starts to work, and you see it seemed to take the shape of this large looming dragon with 3 heads. It's all white. It is not the one you are all thinking of. It is actually white. It has
That's the one
3
I'm thinking
heads.
of.
Orange like almost gems on each head, and frost and ice starts to pour out of its mouth, hitting some of the larger pieces. From Duo, 2 figures seem to appear around him. One looks like, frankly, renderings you've seen of the god Athena. Like literally this tall female cloaked figure with a staff, like channeling energy. And then another figure is like kind of looks like a centaur, but with like angelic wings coming off of them, all white with a large sword. And they start cutting through as well. And these 2 seem to be, with their summons, like delaying these things enough that you're all able to get on your vehicles and drive away. And as all the ministers flee the scenes in various different directions, I think that is where we will call the session to a close.
Oh yeah.
GG's, everyone.
We did it.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thank you to all of my players. I am going to let everyone go around and give their various introductions, pitches, anything they need to mention again, and I will wrap us up with my own little piece of that at the end. But JD, do you have anything else you want to mention or re-mention?
Nope. You can find me with Live from the Apocalypse. You can find me with Tales from the Table Studios. Follow my Twitter, and you will inevitably see me hyping games and posting way too many song lyrics.
All right, Lion. Think you
Hi.
have something you wanted to mention?
I do. I'm really excited. First off, this is amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so hyped to have been here for this, and I can't wait for our next session. I'm Lion. You can find me on Twitter at the Lion Knight 42. You can also find me over at Tales from the Table Studios here on Twitch. I'm the creative head for the studio, and as a thank you for sticking through this amazing session with us, you guys get the first sneak peek at an announcement. We're going to be starting a new show, Life on the Periphery, this week on Friday. It is an actual play based on The Expanse, which is a phenomenal universe, and we'll be following a group of belters, which is going to be running parallel to the plot of the show. We're really, really excited. You can check on our Twitter tomorrow. We'll have a cast announcement, and I promise you it's going to be amazing. So definitely check that out. Again, thank you so much for having me here. This was so hype, and I've been so excited for this, and can't wait for the next one.
Oh yeah.
And Matan?
Hello. Yeah, thank you so much for having Thank you so much for having me. I don't normally do this. I don't.
Do you want me to do your outro, Matan?
I don't normally do this. I don't stream, but I make music. I play in a band called Cold Rex. You can find me on Twitter where I'm not anime, at sad titled with the underscore in the front. And yeah, hire me to make music for you, or mix it for you, and I will do those things. And by hire, I mean I'll do them for free, likely, and tell you not to ever pay me.
And Will.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, my name is Will. I do a lot of things all around the place. Most of it is here at Live from the Apocalypse, so check it out. What do we have coming up? Jesus Christ. I think Sunday we have Veil Breakers, 5e game, D&D 5e homebrew. That's cool. Again, I'm on a lot of cold medicine, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go. It's been an interesting night, hasn't it? How's everybody doing? I'm doing great. I think that is probably going to be it for me. Follow me if you want on social media. Follow Live from the Apocalypse. We'll post the socials and join the Discord. We'll do that again at the end. That's it for me. Liz?
Cold Medicine Gang.
Cold Medicine Gang, rise up.
As a wrap-up note, I did want to make sure to give credit where credit is due. A lot of the NPCs that we saw tonight were contributed by other people that could not be on the stream, so I did want to give a shout-out to that. Duo was created by Jobu to John John, or at Burn John John Burn on Twitter. Imtron was created by Moss Powers, or at Moss Dagger on Twitter. And Blackwood was the creation of our own Brendan here on Live from the Apocalypse, who GM's Missing Numbers, which me and Will are also in. And lastly, actually, we have not gotten to that character yet. So there is at least one more still to be revealed. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining in. This game has been something the broad idea of, I have been excited for so long, and I love what we've gotten to do with it. Though I do have to now go rewrite some of my plots. This is why I don't plan things in advance.
I was wondering about that. I had a feeling.
Yeah, I was like,
from the very moment like Exodia showed up and y'all were like, oh, that's bad, I'm like, that wasn't the reaction I expected.
And now there's no way you'll get us to trust it ever.
I was down to roll with it, and then Evan made a good point, and I was like,
it's a fair reaction. I just didn't think
Yeah.
about that. I'm like, oh yeah, that is kind of ominous a bit of saying, yeah, that's fair. It's just like Yugi summons it, and it's a great thing in the first episode. Why would you not trust the giant doom
Leg
thing in the sky?
Yeah, no, nothing weird or sus about that whatsoever.
not at all.
Thank you all so much for joining us again. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for engaging in the chat. We've loved having everyone here. Please tune in for the remaining 2 episodes. I'm so excited to see where the series goes. Still some fun twists and turns ahead of us. And please stick around because I believe we will be rating another stream after this.
Yeah.
There will be 2 things posted in the chat. One for subscribers, one for not. The raccoon is if you're not. The other one is if you are. Feel free to copy that into the channel we raid, and have a great night, everyone.
Yeah. Also, follow us on the socials and join the Discord if you're so inclined. It's a good place full of good people. And on that note, we're going to disappear and raid over to Guild Superior and say hi to them. They're running a game. And yeah, say goodnight, everybody, I guess.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.